ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
I'm sneaking in broccoli. I hate this show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the... I can't even eat my broccoli in peace. Welcome to the Roundtable holiday. Happy holidays. Look, I have a hat. Be festive, Robert. So welcome to the Roundtable. We have a really fun special holiday show for you. My name is Robert Bannon, and if you're just joining us for the first time, I'm sorry. I am so looking forward to being here with you. We have a really great show for you this week. Mindy Sterling is here. Mindy Sterling from Austin Powers, from Drop Dead Gorgeous, from the Goldbergs. Mindy Sterling, movie star, acting star, Groundlings graduate, and then television superstar mom, Ilene Graff, whose Broadway and television work is goes on forever, and it's going to be a really great show tonight. Next week, I did my first red carpet, and what a carpet it was. We did the carpet for the collaboration where the show got canceled in the middle of the red carpet due to COVID. So chaos ensued, and I'm going to show it to you all next week. In between Christmas and New Year's, we'll have a nice taped roundtable for you. That will be very entertaining, to say the very, very least. It was a very entertaining night, and we'll see what we can reschedule, and then all new shows in January. Just a little heads up, the first week of January, we celebrate a year of the Roundtable, and Robbie Roselle is taking over the reins as the host, and it's going to be a special show, so keep us posted on us being live. And a Robert Bannon, This Is Your Life recap of the Roundtable, hosted by Robbie. So I'm so happy that you're all here. Hello, Abby. Thank you. Abby is in the UK, and she said that she's going to McDonald's where they have wraps, veggie wraps. We don't have that here. And hey, happy holidays, Christine. Nice to see you. So appreciative of all of your love and support and stuff. Thank you all for being here. Let's talk about our week in review, shall we? I think it's time, and I think we shall. Well, I did try to get ready for the holidays, but I did have some work, and we did do the red carpet event. I want to give a shout out to my friends Messiah, who was on the carpet, and that's Georgette. We worked this little monster together for some of it, and Messiah just so happened to be there, so it was a blessing. And then Georgette is a big fan of Jeremy Pope's, and was there, and I'm friendly with her because of him. So it was just a family affair, and it made it feel a lot better that we could all do it together. So I'm really grateful to everyone. Thank you to my school family for this week, for voting for me for the Broadway World Cabaret Awards. I'm still winning Best Vocalist by 2%. 2% I'm winning, and then I'm losing Best Show by 1%. 1% I'm losing the show by 1%. So I'm going to fight for it. We're going to fight for it. I want one of them. So thank you to my school. They shared it today around the school. They're so sweet. And I really appreciate my coworkers a lot. And let's see what happens. And if we don't win, it's fine. But it's really was exciting to be nominated. And Janelle says, I will win one of them. We're going to win. If you haven't won, go to BroadwayWorld.com. If you haven't voted, and you can vote once, then just start making fake Google addresses. I don't do that. It was my dear friend Mike's 40th birthday this week. That's my brother and my sister-in-law, and Mike, he turned 40th, 50th. He wishes it was his 40th. It was his 50th birthday. We had a surprise party for him. Here's my dear old friends, Janae and Sam and Mike and me. And we partied Mike Melfa up, and we had a blast. So happy birthday to you, Michael Joseph Melfa. Happy 50. Life begins at 50, and I'm excited for you. Speaking of my work family, look at us. Look at us at the holiday party. This was the holiday party this week. There we are. That's the 5th grade at Horace Mann. We're a mess. Hot mess. Yeah, he's 50 years old. Mike is 50 years old. He's an old, elderly man. He's got a little scooter now, and he's got a walker. And he was so pissed that we threw the surprise party, but it gave me joy. It gave me such joy. It was really fun to be able to do that with him. I was happy. We were happy to celebrate him. So that was really it. I can't tell you about the red carpet because it's going to be a whole show. And yesterday and Monday, I didn't do much. And I've just been dipping and doing it. I was out in New York late on Tuesday night and just living my best life here. as best as we can. And so thank you for the love. Let's talk about a shameless plug.
Cause I'm shameless.
What's so funny is I told my brother that I'm reckless. I'm like, I'm in a reckless mood. I don't care. I'm in a reckless mood. And he was like, please be safe. And I was like, no, not that reckless. I just meant I was out having fun. Hi, Miss Ann. Thank you, Miss Ann. I wore your Christmas gift. I love the shirts. I wore the shirts to the gym. I wore one to bed, and I wore them underneath my outfit. Yesterday was pajama day at school, and I wore your gift. So thank you, Santa, for bringing that. Thanks to everyone who sent me gifts. Janelle, Christine, Miss Ann, that sends gifts from the Roundtable family. It's so grateful. I'm so grateful and appreciative of you guys spending your money to, yes, thanks, Christine. Your money on me. I want you to save your money. Take yourself out to dinner. Have some, fancy broccoli. So, and thank you all for sharing the Julie Gold video. Me and Julie Gold, and me calling her Julie when her name is Judy, has got like 10,000 views in a day. So thank you for sharing that and finding that funny. But if you watch the show, that's just the way we are. We are here. My shameless plug is that if you're free in New Jersey and you can grab a ticket, join me on December 28th. I will be singing at Pride Night, the national anthem at the Prudential Center in Newark. Tickets on Ticketmaster are sold out. 18,500 tickets are gone. But there's a couple of tickets at njdevils.com. So if you go to njdevils.com, they set aside a couple of tickets for Pride and people who are supporters or followers of Pride or me. So make sure you go December 28th to Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. It's a 7:00 game. I'll be there singing the national anthem. And if you have nothing to do in between, and you can grab a ticket before they're gone, because 18,000 of them are gone. Hey, that's right. Up. We are going to be there, and we'll be doing it again. I did it last year. It's really fun. They're really nice. So Abby's the hockey person. She knows it's a big game. It's like number 1 and 2 in the division. 18,000 seats sold out. There'll be 19,000 people there by the time I'm there. The Devil follows me on Instagram. We go way back, me and the actual Devil mascot. So come to the game if you're in the area. I look forward to it. I don't have a Hey Friend Hey. Do I? Well, we'll play it, right?
I'll be there for you. How you doing?
I think Julie Gold and Judy Gold, the video is me and Julie Gold. Me and Judy Gold. And I call her Julie. And Judy Gold is a comedian. She's a famous LGBT rights activist, lesbian comedian who was on the Rosie O'Donnell show back in the day as a writer. And I called her Julie. And Julie wrote from a distance. And then Judy says, no, she sung Wind Beneath My Wing. So we were all a hot, stinky mess. That being said, Julie Gold wrote me today and said, you got her name wrong. She got the song wrong. And I get called Judy Gold all the time. So that and a whole bunch of hijinks. It was the first time on the red carpet. So it was very weird to do it. We're going to do it again. But it's a weird thing. It's definitely a weird thing. I'm going to see tomorrow Joy the musical. It's at George Street Playhouse in New Jersey. It's we had Erica Henningsen on last week for the Roundtable talk. It's about Joy Mangano from QVC and the Mop Lady. So I'll tell you about that. And if you missed this week's Roundtable talk, it just went up yesterday. It's a good one. It is a holiday roundtable talk, star of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and 198 other TV shows and movies. Nicholas Guest, he is the neighbor. He's the one married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus in the movie. He's on and tells us about it. Plus, his wife is an actress, director, writer, and advocate, Pamela Guest. She heads the sexual harassment board for the Screen Actors Guild Union. So she has a lot to say about acting, and she's a lot to say about the union, and she's a lot to say about everything. It's a really good conversation with the two of them. They're really great actors, and it's pretty fascinating. Super good one. Thank you. Hey, friend. Hey, that video clip with Judy Gold is the best. So hilarious, right? Then the song wrong. We were a mess. It was chaos. Absolute bedlam and pandemonium. I love the movie too, Janelle. It is my favorite. It's my favorite. I could quote it. My brother and me quote all the Lampoon movies. So it was so great to talk to Nicholas about it for sure. Yeah. Well, speaking of movies that I can quote, Mindy Sterling is here. Mindy Sterling was a joy. Take a peek at me and Mindy Sterling, and and I hope you enjoy it because it was a joy to do. And Ilene Graff is on after that. You guys are so cute. I love this show. Take a peek. Okay, everybody, listen. I grew up. We all grew up. I can tell you a list of credits. There's voices and work that you don't even know that our next guest has done. There's big giant blockbusters. There's television. There's a little bit of everything, but I'm so curious to know how it started, the Groundlings, the whole story. Mindy Sterling is here. You've seen her, and she's here with us right now on the Roundtable. Welcome, Mindy Sterling.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I can remember the moment that I remember my friends ran a movie there. You're from New Jersey.
Well, I was born in New Jersey. Now, I don't remember any of that because we left when I was probably 2, and I was raised in Miami, Florida.
Well, that's way better weather.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's what I hear.
Well, I'm born and raised we're in Jersey. So when I saw Patterson, New Jersey, I said,
Okay.
"Oh, Jersey." The Hoboken movie theater, my friend ran it, and I remember the first running ever of Austin Powers. And
my God.
what is this movie? What is this story? And what a complete roller coaster and juggernaut that became. That's not where it started for you, Mindy.
No. Well, that was, doing the Austin Powers was really kind of put me on the map, so to speak. So that gave me so many opportunities and doors open for you when you do something like that. So I do have to always thank Mike Myers. I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity to play and that people enjoyed what I did. And I have no problem doing something they ask of me from the show. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
When you were growing up, what age and what was the moment where you realized, like, maybe there's something that I want to do in this artistic world?
Well, my father was he was a singer and a performer. And my mom, she was a dancer and she worked in an office. So I was kind of around that and I was kind of kooky, but I was very shy. Very shy. And so I don't remember what happened, but somebody said, you could get into the theater and then you could do characters and you wouldn't have to be yourself. So I thought that was very lovely and pleasant. And so I think the very first thing I did was in the 6th grade. I did a play called The Mikado. And I had to sing, and it was, and I just loved it. I loved the theater people. I loved how creative and artsy they are. I love their personalities. So I found my niche to where I want to be involved in this somehow.
And then was education, I mean, obviously training is I know for me, I went to acting school, which was way later than most people. I went to acting school later in my life. When we would do comedy versus drama, the teacher would always say, comedy looks easy and it is hard. It is based on ideas. And you give someone a script that has beats and moments that are supposed to be funny and make it come to life. Totally different than just emoting this feeling. Was it always in your head that that comedy and the improv of it and the characters work was what called you, or was that just what ended up happening? How did that journey start?
Oh, I definitely think it called me. Because my dad was funny and he did stand up and he did, he worked with Shecky Green and Sammy Shore. So I kind of was around laughter, and my mother was funny. I mean, we were all laughing people. And I was like, oh my God, if I was going to do anything, I would love to do comedy because you could have an instant, gratification if somebody laughs, if somebody doesn't. So, I thought that was a little bit more me than getting into anything heavy. And in terms of training, I was in school and took classes in school, which I always tell people when they ask about their kids or whatever is, I know that some schools don't have a big theater department, which is very sad, but find your community theaters, find something that you can get involved in. And that's what I did, a lot of theater.
And that's really a training ground. And then there you go. Then you have all of that underneath you. Yeah. How did the Groundlings come about? And was it an audition? Did they find you? Did you reach out to them? How did that, because that's a legendary community of comedians. How did that all become a part of
Yes. Yes, yes. I was doing another improv class, and some of the people in there said, "Oh my God, you have to come to the Groundlings because you're perfect for this." So, and I loved improv. I just fell into it. I love the idea that you can create whatever you want. I love the idea that I don't have to memorize anything. I love doing characters. So I ended up going to the Groundlings, and I didn't have to audition. Most everybody had to, but the executive director at the time, he had seen my work, and from other stuff. So he said, "I know you'd be perfect." So I just started the classes, and you have to go up through the program, and it takes a couple of years. But I loved every single minute of it.
It's got to be the most amazing. I'm like you. I would rather improv than have to learn, 30 pages of script. But
No, it's too hard for me. It's just I'm too all over the place.
same. I can't sit still. I'm like, I'm so bored. You only learn 3 lines. I'm like, I'm ready to move on. 248 IMDb credits for television and film.
Some are good and some are not. Some of them, I swear, Robert, some of them I don't even know what I did in them.
As long as a residual check pops along once in a while, then 248, when you look back at some of the work, I mean, there's a ton of television through television and episodes. Can you talk a little bit for people? A lot of students watch this show, and my own students, the process, a lot of people, we talk about television. It's very rare that television is just, boom, you're recurring on the Goldbergs, or boom, you have an arc on Desperate Housewives. It's kind of, there's a pattern and a journey and a road to television. Can you talk a little bit about how you started and going from a one day, guest star role to moving on? Can you talk a little bit about that journey in this business?
Yes. Well, you're first you're like a co-star where you might have like 2 or 3 lines. So you get, involved in that. Anytime that you're a guest star of a show that's been on the air and it's been, they've got a family and it's a unit and everything, it is a little difficult because you're just sort of planted there. You audition, you get the job, yay. Now you're planted on, in the scene with people you don't know. They don't know you. They all have their little buddies, and you have to perform and you have to, come through with it. So I always felt that being a little difficult, and and I think most actors will say that it's, until somebody, brings you in, or you do something funny and they go, "Oh my God, you're great," blah, blah, blah. So it takes a little time, and still I have that, you just never know. And then you start with your resume and you start building stuff. And then, it's like, well, this could be a possible recurring and blah, blah, blah. So, and I think that everybody wants to be on a show or to be on recurring. I think it's really hard to be a guest star on, 150 shows. But that's our business. And sometimes that's what we get, and that's what we have to do. So I've had a couple of shows where I've been recurring. And to me, that felt a little bit more like, oh, I was a regular. Because then they know you, they know how to write for you. You come in there, it's Mindy's here. And so I've been very blessed to have, gotten that position.
Well, people must see you, aside from the movie work, people must see you through television, because it's not only television, like we said, the Goldbergs, which here's the ladies of the Goldbergs, or it's also, a younger generation of people who have watched you through the years on the iCarlys and the Ant Farm and here's Ant Farm, like, of all of the different moments that you have done from that. So it's not just, I'm not just only from Austin Powers, or not only show, or only from that television show. There's generations and generations, Mindy. We all were watching you.
I know it. And what's so wonderful is I will have adults come up to me, and, young adults, and go, "Oh my God, you were my hero. I watched you. You got me through things in iCarly." I get recognized by iCarly a lot. Sure. And I didn't do that. I think that show was 3 or 4 years. And I wasn't a regular, but I guess I made such an impact that people remembered me and loved me. They remembered the episodes I did. And I just came back I did a Comic-Con in Evansville, Indiana. And definitely there was the iCarly people, there's the Austin Powers that are more of the adults, and then you get a couple that the Grinch, you get a couple from voiceover stuff. Yes. So, I'm really, really grateful for the opportunities I've had. I don't want to end it. So you just hope that it continues to be that way for me. And then what's lovely is, how people see you and how nice and sweet they are to you and just let you know and share with you, oh my God, I was going through such heartache with my family and I always watched you. And so
when you talk about a character like it's on probably right now on television right now, the Grinch this is the season for the Grinch for sure, playing around the world, probably 24/7 the whole month of December. When you talk a big gigantic movie, big budget, big cast, huge, were you or Austin Powers as it went through the different, big, it gets bigger and the budgets get bigger and more people see it. As an actor, how do you know what is your limitations to play? Or were you allowed to play on these sets? Were you encouraged to be free and to add some of the Mindy magic into these characters?
I don't think so much the Grinch. The Grinch was, I think, what you want to have is you want to have a sensibility that you are almost throwing those things or things are coming from you. So it could be the mannerisms, it could be the behavior that you do. But that I stayed, I think, pretty much on script. And Mike Myers, I never wanted to change his scripts because they were wonderful. So it's what I could bring to them that seemed to have gotten, good feedback. And every now and then, I would throw something out and I'd go, yeah. And he would throw it back. And so you then have something to play with. But what I do love doing is indie films. It's like, small budget films. I mean, I wish I could make more money with that. But what's nice is because most of the people that hire me know that I come from an improv background. And so they say, improv it, or I'll say, how tight do you want me to do with these lines? Oh my God, have fun. And then I'm in heaven because I'm only doing what I've been trained in at the Groundlings. And that, to me, it's just so in the moment that you're going to get some lovely thing each time you do it.
That sounds like heaven to me.
Do you do improv at all when you're teaching?
I do improv, and I did 2 years Meisner, which was all repetition and all improv and all that, at the door. I did the whole conservatory of it all. And it's what I love. But I'm a cabaret, I'm a singer. So like my nightclub act is very improv, meaning like, I'm going to tell you my life story. We're going to sing and have a moment. And that tightrope walk is what's thrilling. I mean, I could learn these lines and we could do it, but to have that freedom is magical.
And not everybody has that. Not everybody feels comfortable doing that. And I'm such a social person. And the more, the older I get, the more I'm like, I just want to chat with you. I don't want to, do my bit. Let's just chat because I want to get to know you. But so that comes a little easier to me than the dialogue that you have to memorize every single letter.
I get it. Well, I always tell the story that when I was in school, I had a partner who was a real methodical, sitting home, thinking notes and sending me pages of backstory. And then it was my turn to create a scene. And he was, what is my character? And I said, you're a doctor. And he said, of what? And I said, I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, a patient. And he's like, what's wrong? And I was like, I have no idea, but we're going to figure it out. That thrills me. That terrifies me.
I know, of course. And that's what people, when you're in auditions, and they give you an adjustment or they give you something else that they want you to try. You're not like, well, but I worked on this like this. So I think improv is such a great tool to have for anybody. I'm also a big component of improv for just life, because you have that yes and theory. We work together on something, and it's about listening because anything can come out of somebody's mouth. So yeah, that's like my favorite thing to do.
I love it. So and now voiceovers, I mean, you have a litany of characters and voiceover work. I mean, there are movies, Minions and etc. that we are hearing you and the sounds. How did it sounds like it makes perfect sense to me because you are the characters you create. How did it happen and how do you like the voiceover world?
I love the voiceover world. I think it's very difficult to get in, including myself, because there are people there that have been doing voiceover work, and that is what they focus on. They're not doing anything else. And so I'm doing a little bit of everything. And I love, again, reading a script and having fun with it and and playing with it and creating a character from it. Or you don't have to memorize anything, and you don't have to dress up. And and also too, and then when you see the character, after you've done the voice and how they've created the character and how they, put it into, then you're it now. You've made this thing alive, is very exciting to me. So yeah, I think that that's the way to go.
It is. We've had some really great voiceover actors. We had Candy Milo and Rob Paulson and all these people that have for decades. And that art form and that community, it is not just, you don't just stand in a booth. Like, that's a real talent you all can do.
There is, I mean, I still, if I'm with other people in the room, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of them because it's still, it's nothing that I book like 1,000 times. So to listen how they do it, and they're very confident and and it is so exciting to hear what comes out of their mouth and their voices and their take on things. Yeah, it's very fun.
Well, and you do the same thing, and they're watching and looking at how brilliant what you're doing. Can you tell us a little bit about the web series Con Man and this idea? Because you were talking about conventions and the culture of a convention and all of the fun. How did that come about? And what a fun premise! What a show!
Did you see it? Did you see Con Man?
I started it last night. Once we started talking, I started it last night, and I've been to them. I've seen them on both sides. It's fun.
They're fascinating. They're absolutely fascinating.
I have to finish it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because you've got fans that come from all over, and that can't believe that they're going to see someone that they grew up with or someone that their work, and then they come to your table, and I have all my pictures out, and then they do things like, "Oh my God, you were in that! Oh my God," and then they get even more excited. And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I'm making you so happy." And you came all the way out here to see me, or maybe I was a surprise. And Con Man, I loved it. I loved working with Alan Tudyk. You should get him. You should get him. He is, because he does all the Pixar. He does voiceovers. I loved him, and I worked with Leslie Jordan.
Yeah.
And that was so exciting. We had such high hopes for it, and unfortunately it didn't go further than what we thought it would be. And sometimes that's just the people in charge at the time. But I love let me turn that off. I loved that character that I played because she was crazy. I love women. She was crazy, and she had no filter. And I got to I said, "Can I wear different wigs all the time?" Just because, some people don't have great hair. Maybe I can make it look like it's just who she is. And he said yes. And and the people that I met, it really was a lovely part of my life. I really enjoyed it. A lot of the things that haven't moved forward as much as they should have, I've really enjoyed it. Same thing with Legit. I don't know if you saw Legit with Jim Jeffries. Oh, that was, it was so different and so wonderful. And I loved every moment of it. And he was such a kind soul, and he always teased me. But I loved it. So yeah.
Well, I love the I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to tell you all of my thoughts when I'm finished, because I love the ideas, and there's so many great ideas out there that we want to, there's so much worlds to explore. That's what's so great about art and acting.
Yeah, you did see Drop Dead Gorgeous.
I sure did.
I know. It was I get so excited when people talk about it. I get so excited when I'm at the cons and like, oh my God, this is my favorite. And blah, blah, blah. That was that was a treat for me. And that was early on in my career too. So I was like, oh my God, I get to work with Kirstie Alley and I get this great part. And then look at the women that have come out of there that have done very well.
It's a show of star. I mean, everyone needs you, but it's clever and funny and smart, and the work on it is. I know the amount of Mindy. I know the amount of sacrifice and time it takes to do what you do. It's a real commitment, and the art of it and the joy that you give to us, it should never be taken for granted. What you do is so noble and so needed in this crazy world. Truly, it's changed. It means a lot to me because I know that there's a vulnerability in the work that is a price. And thank you for sharing it with us.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm so excited to see what else you have up your sleeves for the years to come, the projects to come. I'm ready.
Well, you'll have to get back to me because I don't know what's going on next year.
The best thing. That's the best. If you want to stay on, if you're on Instagram, you could go to @Mindy Stir, and we could find you. And you're around. You go around the country. You could say hello, find her, and we'll be watching you on our screens and our televisions and all sorts of things.
Oh.
I'm so grateful and honored to talk to you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Robert. I'm glad that I did this. I'm glad that we can do these kind of things at home and have a wonderful time. You are a joy. I wish you well with the things that you do. And it means a lot to me that people want to talk to me.
No, are you kidding? It's an honor. So thank you. I so appreciate it. I love that Mindy Sterling. She's pretty awesome. She's really great. Comedians, actors, singers, musicians, artists, they all have such a great spirit about them when they talk about their art. It's exciting. Speaking of great spirit, Ilene Graff is here. Take a peek at when we got a chance to chat. All right. I don't know about you, but growing up, I grew up in Richfield Park, New Jersey. And in Richfield Park, New Jersey, not only did we watch it live, we watched the reruns every single Saturday. I'm talking about that small boat to China. Mr. Belvedere, Ilene Graff is here, and we are going to talk about her career. Do you know about Grease? Do you know about her in Grease? Do you know about her television career? Do you know about her and Rodney Dangerfield? Do you know that at 54 Below on December 28th, she's going to be doing a Christmas show? New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, world? The amazing Ilene Graff is here. Hello.
Hi, tri-state area.
Well, yes, welcome back to the tour.
I always love that on commercials in New York. Would leave for the tire store in the tri-state area. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm home. It's the tri-state area. California. It's so big.
Yes, and it's a whole other world. I love California, but it's like we're little states here, and we just are all so congested, and we all have been watching you for decades.
Well, that makes me very happy. Doing Mr. Belvedere was, of course, one of the major career highlights of my life, one of the major highlights of my life. And one of the things I loved about doing the show is that people like you who I don't know, still come up to me and want to give me a hug and say, you raised me. I watched you every day when I was doing my homework, and thank you for always being there. And that's when you understand the impact that TV can have. It's very cool.
It is amazing. Those seasons and that show in particular, I bring it up right away because I was born in 1983. And I specifically remember, sitting with my brother and watching Mr. Belvedere, and you being a TV mom along the amazing lineup of amazing TV moms I grew up watching. You sit right there, and it's so refreshing and nice to see you. You don't age ever.
That's a very nice thing to say. Tell my knees, please. Just tell my knees, because they seem to think that they're my age. So there's nothing I can do about that. And the knees, you mentioned before that I did Grease. I did Grease for 2.5 years on Broadway. And we all have what we call Grease knees. From all the slamming and the banging on the stage and all of that before we had proper protections. So it's like, Thank you so much. Shana na 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 yippity dip dip. I have grease knees.
Well, can we talk a little bit before we talk about your holiday show? You're from Queens,
Yeah,
New York,
yeah.
and you started off as a singer, background singing and singing around in the New York area.
Yeah, well, my dad was a singer. He had a singing group for years, and then he came back to New York, stopped being on the road, and became a very successful studio singer and vocal contractor. So he hired the singers that you would hear on jingles or singing backup on records. So when I was a young teenager, he would hire me sometimes to sing on his jingles if they needed like a teenage sound or a teenage group or something. So I always sort of figured I would be a singer, because that's what, in all honesty, Robert, that's what comes easiest to me is singing. The acting is always like, oh, I wish it were as easy as singing. But then acting kind of came, and so that's where it went.
What an amazing story. So how did you put the two together, the acting and the singing? How was your journey to stage, in particular Broadway?
I didn't do my first musical until my senior year of high school. And when I talk to people, or like my daughter, Nika Graff Lanzaroni, who's been doing like musical, you probably even know her. You know,
I've absolutely seen her and know.
when I looked you up a little, Robert, I saw that we know all the same people.
Yes.
So I was always singing, but I didn't get to do my first musical. I didn't go to camp. I didn't have community theater until my senior year of high school, which is pretty late compared to a lot of people. And we did Once Upon a Mattress, and I got to be the ingenue. And I said, oh, this puts together a lot of different things. You sing, you talk, you wear costumes, you get laughs. I think I like this. And of course, I'd been to the theater many, many times. And it was kind of at that point that I said, maybe I'll see about this. Maybe this is something that might work for me. And I guess it did.
And yes, it did. We had Barry Bostwick on a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about Grease, and we talked about those early days of that show, and how that was the first musical I ever did in high school. I was in 9th grade. I was Judy. I was the C, A, A. And and it will stick with me forever. What a fun introduction to well, it was not an introduction, because you also did talk about a hard song and a hard show. You did Promises, Promises.
I did. That was my first Broadway show right out of college. My dad got me an audition because his best friend was the musical director, and they were looking for someone to replace one of the pit singers. Promises, Promises sounded like a record. It was the first Broadway show that sounded like a record. So we had 4 backup singers sitting in the pit, singing backups for whatever was going on stage. So they needed someone who was a real singer, who could read music, who could blend in a group, which is something I've been doing all my life, plus someone who could play the guitar, which I could, and someone who could sing those songs, which I could. So I ticked off all the boxes for them, and there I was, 21 years old, understudying the leading lady in this big hit Broadway show. And it was just wonderful, because as a first show to be an understudy is a really good idea, because you're not thrown into it. You get to learn how to be in a show. You learn how to sign in on time, and you learn how to be a good team member, which I learned how to do in school at Ithaca College. We had great training. But suddenly you're at the Schubert Theater, and you're playing with the big boys. And it was a great way to be introduced to Broadway protocols. And my first performance, I didn't know I was going on. I went to the Edison coffee shop, which was across the street down Schubert Alley. I got my tuna fish sandwich and my tab, and I go into where we sat downstairs. We had a little room, and the stage manager says, "You're going on today." And I think I just ate a tuna fish sandwich.
Welcome to Broadway. Take your
Okay. Got on the phone, called my mom. They called all the family, whoever could come, and it was thrilling.
Well, listening to those songs and that show in particular, the people that sing like you, that sing that music and sing it so well, and the style and that those songs, you all make it sound so easy. But you ever try to sing one of their songs? There's tempo changes and key changes and signature changes all over the place. And wow, what an introduction to the world of theater. And then what a ride. And then we can't talk to you without talking about I love my wife as well.
Well, I think if you scratch the surface of a lot of performers, movie stars, TV stars, people slaving away wherever, you just scratch the surface, and what they really want to do is create a role in a Broadway musical. That's like one of the pinnacle things that we strive for. So sometimes I say, do you realize what you did? Because you forget. You forget that whoever listens to Love Revolution and sings it for an audition because they have to hit that high E flat, it's because I knew I could do that. So now everybody else is forced to do that. They build a show on you, and you get to be there and watch these crazy talented people put a show together, and you get to be in it. So it's an experience I wish everybody could have who wanted that experience.
That is so true. That people are ruining that song now for the rest of time in auditions everywhere.
I always said, come on, I want to sing high. Let me sing high. Make it really hard. Make it high. And he said, okay. Cy Coleman. I think there was a demo from before I joined the show that somebody sent me recently. And my memory plays tricks on you, because I remember saying to Cy, I really love singing fast and high and hard, and him saying, okay, this is your song. This is for you. So I still like singing high and hard and fast.
Well, before we talk about television and film and how that transition happened, because I find it fascinating when I get to speak to such accomplished people like yourself about how that sometimes it's on purpose, sometimes it's magic. But we're talking about singing. Before we get moving along here, while you're watching everybody, you're coming to New York. You have a show it's really a family affair. It's going to be a really special evening for sure. You can grab your tickets. You can go to 54below.com. Can you tell us what we can expect to see this December 28th here in New York?
Well, hopefully you're going to get to see the show that we couldn't do last year, because after our tech rehearsal and our band rehearsal, and we're ready to go up to the dressing room, they said, we love you so much, you're not doing your show tonight. Somebody on the staff has COVID. And it was before we had backup people and, well, if this one can't do it, then that one can do it. And it was so hard to get tests back then. So we were just, my band, my guests, even the crew at 54, we were like, you got to be kidding me. And that was it. So we didn't get to do it. So this year I'm living like a hermit. I'm not going out, sitting in my little office here. You can see my office. It's a really fun show. I've done it several times in LA. We've got holiday music. We have unholiday music. We have a lot of laughs. We have a lot of heart as well. I think it's and when we were putting it together, we wanted it to kind of feel like an Andy Williams TV special, which was all about the family and special guests coming in and the doorbell ringing. We don't have a doorbell ringing. Rats. I'm going to have to put that in next time. And all of our guests in the audience get presents. So everybody gets candy and dreidels and jingle bells and noisemakers. So that's the feeling that we want, in addition to crazy brilliant arrangements by my husband, the ASCAP award-winning composer Ben Lanzarone, who has never met a lead sheet whose chords he didn't improve upon. So it's a fun show to do, and I love looking out in the audience and seeing people just relax and have a good time and celebrate.
Well, I've seen Ben play. I've seen Ben play at Birdland. I've seen him be at Jim Caruso's events or at Susie Mosher's. At all of the events, he comes up, plays. When you have somebody, Eileen, when you have someone in your house that can play a piano like he can play a piano and jazz up and do all sorts of fun, beautiful things. My goodness, that's like the dream. That's my whole entire relationship dream all wrapped up in one.
Laugh. Randy Graff, you know, my first cousin Randy Graff, our genuine certified Broadway A-list star, when as we were growing up and I married Ben and all of this stuff, and I said to her, marry a musical director, marry a piano player, musical director. And do you know what she did? Exactly that. Her husband, Tim Weil, has been the musical supervisor of Rent since before it ever was on stage. He was there and took over when Jonathan Larson passed away. He has supervised almost every company. Plus, he plays for other people, and he's an arranger, and he's just wonderful. And I said, you listen to your big cousin Eileen. Well done, Randy.
I needed this advice. I needed this. I would have saved me a lot of money and time.
Well, the fact of the matter is I could never afford to do the shows I do if I had to pay someone what Ben would charge.
Good thing. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. Can you tell us a little bit about who do you have surprising us and coming to the show? That you have quite the little list of fun special guests.
Well, my of course, the daughter, Nika Graff Lanzaroni, who herself has been in 2 Broadway shows. We realized she's on like 3 or 4 original cast albums. We didn't even realize it. She just came back from Chicago doing The Devil Wears Prada. She's a force of nature, my kid. She's amazing. So she's going to be one of my special guests. And my very good friend, Lori Tan Chin, who had an entire career in the theater. She started out as a dancer and a huge career in the theater. And then we met 20 years ago. We were both in the ABC Disney Glenn Close Harry Connick version of South Pacific. Mm-hmm. So we were the Americans they brought over, and we met and we became fast friends. But then she became a TV star. She's like one of these people that can't walk down the street without people wanting to take selfies because of Orange is the New Black and Aquafina is Nora from Queens. But those people don't know she sings. They don't know. They haven't a clue that Lori sings, and she sings with, she's just delicious. So I twisted her arm, and she's going to be singing. She sings in my show, and I'm very excited about that. And then my bass player, John Miller, who was our bass player in I Love My Wife, he created Hey There Good Times. I bring him up front from the band, and he's going to sing Hey There Good Times, and that's I mean, it's going to be just wonderful.
How wonderful is that? Firstly, John Miller is a legendary bass player, contractor, musician in the New York world. I've never seen him pulled from behind the piano with his bass and sing a song.
Oh, he's wonderful. It just feels exactly the same when he comes out with his bass and sings Hey There Good Times. I just feel like I'm in my 20s again, and there we are hanging out doing a Broadway show. I'm so grateful to him. You know, as you mentioned, he's like the busiest orchestra contractor in town. He's contracted the bands for over 140 Broadway shows, including, I don't know how many that are running now. But when I call him up and I say, I'm doing a night at 54 Below, can you like be in charge? And he goes, yes. I make the time. He makes the time. That's the kind of guy he is. And that's how, those are the kinds of people we like to surround ourselves with, who are there when you need them and want them, because number one, they love you, and number two, they know they're going to have fun.
Absolutely. All right, Eileen, listen, on the 28th, everyone's home. It's the week in between the holiday.
Yeah.
Right before New Year's Eve. So you come to 54. I always say this, there's nothing like 54 Below. It's at 9:30. You get a drink, you eat a little something, you mingle with your friends, and it's the most beautiful space in New York City to see a show. There's not a bad seat in the house, and you're going to be up close and personal, and you'll get to see a little piece of your heart and art up there on stage on the 28th, and your family and your friends, and you'll come. And I know just by talking to you for these 15 so minutes, you're going to make us all feel like we're friends and family by the end of the show. And it's a perfect little holiday get together in the midst of all of the family craziness and all the holidays you're doing. Come spend a night out and enjoy yourself.
Oh, thank you. I really hope you do. I guarantee you won't be bored.
I love that. So, I love that. I've been lucky enough to play there. I'm playing there in June. I'm opening Pride June 2nd at 54 Below. And there's something special and magical about the room, because I know people like yourself and the amazing performers that step up on that stage in that intimate space. It really feels like you're in your living room telling stories and singing songs. So
it really does. And we're going to be there again. 54 Below got in touch with Nika and me and said, would you create a Mother's Day show for us and be our Mother's Day shows? And we said, yes, thank you. We've done our duets show there before. And in fact, I was just on a Zoom with Nika and Robbie Roselle, who you know very well. Yes. So he's, yeah. So we were just all together seeing to put together this very special Mother's Day show. We'll be there on the May 14th for brunch and dinner. So first you come for Christmas, then you come for Mother's Day. It's great.
Robbie Roselle directs my shows.
I know, but I didn't know that before when we got set up.
I did not either. He's brilliant and funny and wonderful. Eileen, that's it. That's it. That's it.
And I appreciate the pink that you matched my pink. I got it.
Yes, we got it. Good. Well, while I have you here, I would be remiss as an acting nerd myself and someone who really studied camera work and acting and theater. I would love to talk to and television. I would love to talk to you about the transition. How did you leave the stage and nightclubs and all of the things, the work that you have done and the singing, and end up on a sitcom and movie, and not just a sitcom? I mean, Barnaby Jones and Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy and Three's Company, and like you did the gamut of the legendary television shows before you land Mr. Belvedere, and then of course doing films like Ladybugs and all of that stuff. So how did that transition happen?
When we were doing I Love My Wife, I said to myself, oh, this is like a sitcom, but with really good songs. I bet I could do that. And when the opportunity came, my husband was offered work. His friend, our very good friend, Charles Fox, who wrote the themes to every TV show in the universe, said, we need a composer to write the episodic music for Happy Days. So I'd been doing I Love My Wife for a year, and it was great, but I felt like, yeah, we could move. So we came out to LA for Ben, so he could write music. And I found the transition into doing TV to be pretty smooth, because especially if you're doing multi-camera TV, you're doing a play, you're live, and you just learn how to tone it down. It was a lot of it is instinctive and smarts, and you go, oh, I have to be aware of a camera. I have to be aware of a camera, but there's a studio audience. Okay, I get it. And I'd done lots of commercials, so I was very used to working on camera. So that, although I never got a nearly as big a commercial career as I did in LA as I did in New York, I still had lots of camera experience. So it was pretty smooth, and it was nice coming to LA right off of a hit Broadway show, because there were indeed some people. A lot of people had no idea what was going on Broadway. A lot of casting directors hadn't a clue. Showrunners hadn't a clue. It wasn't their world, but a few of them did. And they turned out to be my champions, and who were the ones that would always put my name forward and make it happen for me. You're muted, my dear.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to give the floor all to you without any distraction. I was so enamored by the conversation, because I think you make a good point. I think a lot of actors, especially when they're starting out, or they do community theater, or they go to high school, or they go to college for theater, the idea of doing television is very scary. But in a lot of ways, acting is acting.
You just have to be smaller, because in theater, you're working in big spaces, and on TV, you're working in a small space. So you just have to you got to use your smarts and say, if we had a scene together, I would talk the way I talk. If I'm singing a song, when to leave, I know it better be big, because it's a big plot point. It's a big tune. So you just use your common sense. A lot of it is common sense.
I think that's really wonderful advice. That's the note I always get. I'm this Italian Jersey boy with the hands and the big, take it down, bring it yes.
Down a little, just take it down.
Right. Just ground it. Well, I am so excited to see you. Now I get the chance to see you hopefully twice this year on the 28th and then going back again for Mother's Day. And I'm excited to see your show and hear your stories. And I'm excited to see your daughter just become a superstar. And I'm excited to continue to just watch your career and all the fun things that you, your husband, your family do. And I just want to always take this opportunity in a moment to say thank you, because I know that the time and effort that you put to make the art that we all enjoyed comes at a cost and a sacrifice for your family and your personal life. And you gave it all to us. And it's truly a gift. It makes a lot of people very happy.
Well, thank you, Robert. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this time with you and with the people who enjoy watching you. It was a real pleasure, and I'm so happy to have met you.
It's me. Same. I'm going to see you. Grab your tickets, everybody. 54below.com. It's going to be a really fun night. Come celebrate the holidays. Get your tickets. There's a few tickets still left, but don't wait because you're going to run out. They're going to be gone. So you better grab them while you can. And thank you so much for being here. Happy holidays and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you here.
Okay. Bye.
I love her. She's like my new best friend. I want to be her best friend. I want to be her husband, her daughter's best friend. If you want to see her, make sure you go check her out. Everybody, thank you so much. Next week, join us for a roundtable talk. And then I will see you the first week of January for our 1-year anniversary. It will be hosted by Robert Roselle. It'll be like, this is my life. And I'm terrified. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And from my heart to yours, thank you for being so great to me this year. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. You make my day a little bit better. And I just say to you all, may your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. Bye, everybody. See you all real soon.